In this video, I'm gonna show you how to become a giant and play with your toy boat in public river. So let's get started. Hey, what's up guys, my name is Dhruval and welcome to another video by Tutorials Junction. And as you can see, this is the final output and this is the base image. So the basic idea is we have a girl sitting here and she put her toy boat here and now she's watching it go. That's it. So to create the effect, let's go to the file here. I will not try to replicate my original work, rather I will show you my approach, like what I did to achieve the final output that I wanted. So first thing, let's just go and unlock the background, close it. Now if you look at the image here, as you can see, there is a lot of detail that we can bring out. So first thing, make a copy of it, Ctrl J. So we have this for the backup. Okay, so activate this image and then go to image, adjustment, and then go to shadows and highlights. Okay, so first thing, let's go and adjust the shadows. After that, go to your highlights, and here I will try to bring them down a little bit. So as you can see, now we have lots of details back from the cloud, and also adjust your tonal width. Okay, now go and hit OK. After that, I wanted to get rid of all of this blue color from the image and give it more summery feeling. So for that, create a new adjustment layer and I got a selective colors. Here, first thing, obviously, I went to my cyan because that's what I want to get rid of. So I reduced my cyan and at the same time, I added a little bit of yellow. And I also added a little bit of black for more contrast in the clouds and a little bit here. After that, go to your blues. Here I first of all increased my yellow, as you can see here, and then I added a little bit of cyan because I'm also gonna go to my neutrals, and here I will add the yellow. So we need a little bit of blue, so it doesn't go way over the top. So I think somewhere around 19 is fine. Let's go and play with the cyan. So I think -3 is good. So that's it for changes. I'm gonna go and close it. After that, I wanted to give it an overall tone. So for that, best solution was go to your adjustment, and it was color lookup, as you can see here. We have lots of presets, and so the one I used was fall colors, as you can see here. So I just applied the fall colors and that's it. I didn't change anything. So this is the image we started with and this is where we are. So we are a bit closer. Actually, we can adjust it a little bit more. So go to your selective colors, and here in the neutrals, let's go and remove cyan a little bit more so we can have a bit more stronger effect. So I think somewhere around 13 is fine. Let's go and close it. So I think this looks much better. Now I have the look I want for the background and I can finally add the model. So for that, I'm just gonna go and simply grab the model from my original document. From here, let's go and drop her here. And okay, we're good. I'm gonna go and put her on the top. Okay. So as you can see, I used pen tool to cut out the model, and in original image she looks something like this. So I used pen tool and you can try using magnetic lasso, but it didn't work very good. So after I was done with my selection, I applied the layer mask so I have full control. Okay, so I'm gonna activate my layer mask. So as you can see, I kept a little bit of water here and the rest is just general cutout. So first thing, let's make her bigger. Ctrl T. Oops, close it. I'm gonna activate my model, then again press Ctrl T and make her bigger. Okay, big enough. After that, I wanted to blend my model properly in the water, so it actually looks like that she is in there. So what I did, when I did my cutout, I kept a little bit of water so I have the idea. After that, I activated my layer mask here. I grabbed my brush tool from here, and in the opacity, I changed it to, first of all, I kept it 100%, sorry. Activated layer mask, and first of all, I got rid of all of this area. As you can see, you can paint with black color, and my brush is 0% hard, okay? It has to be really soft. So I went and removed all the hard edges from here. That is done, but as you can see, it still doesn't look like that model is in there. So what I did after that, I went and I changed my opacity to somewhere around like 20%, 25%. And now I started painting it back. So I changed my color to white and then I started bringing some of the details back. So it looks like that the model is actually in there, under the water. And I also revealed a little bit of parts from the water, especially around the leg, as you can see here. Now I'm gonna paint it back. Pretty good. After that, I wanted to match the perspective of the model. As you can see, we can adjust the angle a little bit better. So activate your model layer, Control T, so we can have this things here. After that, I rotated her a little bit, so that's perfect. Then right click here, and where is it? Go with perspective. So it will allow you to adjust every single corner properly. So I went and I started adjusting it properly. Now go and confirm it. So now if I press Ctrl Z, as you can see, now the depth is a lot better and the model fits in the scene properly. You can spend more time and get it exactly how you want. So that's done. Now if I zoom in, as you can see, there is a shade of green everywhere on skin, clothes, hair, everywhere. And that is because in original picture, the model is surrounded in green water. So what I did, I went and created new adjustment layer and selected hue saturation and turned on my clipping mask. So any changes I do, it will stay on the model, right? So make it 0. Then I went to my green tones, and here I made the saturation all the way up to 0 and close it. So now if I zoom in here and if I turn this on and off, as you can see here, the shade of green that's gone, and we have a simple that match with background. After that, I applied the same color lookup. Go to your adjustment layer and get a color lookup, but this time I turned on clipping mask, so it only stays on the model. And then I went in and I went for, where is it, the fall colors, and close it. So now the colors look much more similar. And then I wanted to adjust the contrast of the model, so I went and created another adjustment layer and went to selective colors. Then of course turned on clipping mask, so it will only affect the model. Then I went to my neutrals, and here I reduced the black. Then go and close it. So now if I turn it on and off, the contrast looks better. Let's adjust it a bit more. Go and close it. Now if I zoom in, as you can see, because I used pen tool, this edges look really sharp and the hair doesn't look very good. So activate layer mask of your model, right click and go for refine mask. And here I just simply went and painted on the edges carefully. Now as you can see, hair looks more fuzzy and little bit realistic, and this is the best you can do with refine edge. If you want even better output, I will recommend grab a brush tool and paint this edges properly. We have a lot of default hair brushes, so use them. I'm gonna hit OK, and I think now the hair looks fine. So the model is done, perspective is okay, she blends in water, the colors are fine. After then, I realized that this is the place where I will put the sun. So we need a little bit of shadow. So now we have to create shadow under the model. So I'm going to create a new layer, and this will be actually under my model, and rename it. And now I'm going to show you a simple trick. Go and grab your, what do you call, polygon lasso tool, and make a selection something like this. The selection is ready. Now I can go and grab my paint bucket tool from here and simply go here and paint in the black color. Then go to select here and deselect. Now the shadow obviously looks terrible. So first thing I did was went and reduced the opacity, so it starts blending a little bit more. Good. Then right click and convert to smart object, so we can apply some filters. So then go to filter, blur, and here we have Gaussian blur, and apply a little bit of blur, focus on your edges here. Looks good enough, then go and hit OK. After then I applied a layer mask here so that I can erase certain parts, and grab my brush tool, make it really big, like pretty freaking big, something like this, and paint with black color, and make sure opacity is 100%. Then go and start removing a little bit of shadow from here and there. So as you can see, now the shadow looks much natural, and I also reduced the opacity a little bit to blend in a little bit more. So the shadow is done, and now we can add some reflection. So for that, activate your model layer because we need it for the reflection. And the first thing I will do is press Ctrl J. Once you have to copy, go and select the bottom one. Here first thing, go and rename it, so we don't have any confusion. After then, right click here and select rasterize layer, so you can apply the layer mask. So now I can select my layer mask, right click and get apply layer mask. So I get rid of the layer mask and I only have this cut out. We good? So after that, go and press Ctrl T on the reflection, right click and select flip vertical. So we have something like this. Then go and rotate it from the corner. and try to match it with this. Okay, that looks good enough. Go and confirm it. First thing, go and change the blending mode to soft light, and then reduce the opacity somewhere around like 50%. We have to blend it a little bit more. So for that, I went to my image, adjustment, and hue saturation. Here, first thing I did, I got rid of a lot of colors. I made it somewhere around like 25, and also I got rid of some of the lightness to make it, blend with water better. So minus 29 looks okay. So as you can see the difference. Okay, we are doing surprisingly good till now. So after that, I wanted to create some shadows on the hand, face, and places. So I went and created a new blank layer, and I put it on top of everything exactly here and rename it. Now it's super easy. Grab your brush tool, black color, and make the opacity somewhere around like 10%. Don't go higher than that, okay? You can ruin the image. And then wherever you see the dark parts, go and start painting in there. And one important tip I forgot to tell you, that before you start painting, right click and where is it, convert to clipping mask. So now when I paint anything, it will stay on top of model. As you can see, let's make the opacity full so you can see everything will stay on model. If you don't do that, it will go everywhere and it will make your life pretty difficult. So let's go and start painting. Okay, so this looks good enough, and whenever you paint the shadow, keep in mind that this takes a lot of time and takes some practice. So don't worry if it doesn't look very good in first try. Okay, now let's go and create some rim lighting because sun is here. We need a little bit of lighting on the hair, on the body here. So for that, create a new blank layer and rename it rim light. After that, right click here and make it a clipping mask, so whatever we paint stays here. And in my colors, as you can see, we have this really dark orangish color that's almost brown. So this is the color, hit OK. Then go and change the blending mode to color dodge and go and start painting wherever you need the rim light. So as you can see, now the hair look really cool in. Okay, so I think this looks good enough, but we need to reduce some opacity. So I'm gonna go and make it somewhere around like 60%. And now if I turn it on and off, the lighting looks much better. And it will start fitting together once we add the sun here. So this is fine. Okay, so everything related model is almost done, except one thing. Let's go and create new layer. And you will not make it a clipping mask because we need a shadow that joins model and water together. So it needs to be in both places. So grab your brush tool and make the opacity that regular, 15-20%, and grab your black color from here and start painting here. Make your brush a bit bigger and paint here to blend these things to. Let's turn it on and off. Okay, we can reduce some opacity. Let's keep it somewhere around 60%, and now if I turn it on now, and again it's a shadow. Take your time to paint it properly. Okay, now everything related model is done, and now we can start working on the background a little bit. So for that, I'm gonna go and create a new blank layer from here. And the first thing, let's go and add the sun. So I'm gonna go and name it sun. And here I'm gonna go and grab my paint bucket tool, right click paint bucket and fill in the black color. Go to filter, render, and go and select the lens flare. Here I'm gonna get this third one because it has the least detail, and let's keep it somewhere around here. You know what, let's keep it in center so we don't have that flaring line. Keep it in center, hit OK. Then go and change the blending mode to screen, the standard stuff we do every time. Press Ctrl T and make it smaller and put the sun here. Son of a sun. Okay, confirm it. Now as you can see, if I zoom in, we have this little bit of lining going on. That is because of our layer. So what we can do is just simply grab the eraser tool from here, right click eraser, and make it pretty big, bigger than we need, and make the opacity 100, hardness 0%, and then you can just simply erase these lines away. Cool, now let's go and add some colors. So for that, image adjustment, and then go and select hue saturation. Here first of all, make it colorize, and then increase the saturation so you can see the colors, and then change the hue to make it orange. Good, now go and hit OK. Actually, you know what? Let's adjust the sun a little bit so it matches, what do you call the shadow properly. So let's keep it somewhere around here. Okay, that's good enough. Now since we added the sun, we can add some little bit of lighting effect here on this building, a little bit on this merry-go-round. So for that, go and create a new blank layer from here and name it environment light. And here grab your brush tool and grab an orange color somewhere from the sun. Okay, not good enough. I'm gonna go and manually grab a color. Okay, so this is dark enough. Hit OK. Change the blending mode to, where is it, color touch, and start painting where you need the lighting effect. And also make the opacity 100%. We will reduce it later, but when you paint, keep it on 100. Okay, environmental lighting is done, but it's way too intense. So I'm gonna go and reduce the opacity until it blends in properly. And now we can finally add the boat. And actually in the boat, it's exact same process as the model. Almost nothing is different. Let me show you. Go to file, go to place, and grab your this toy boat image, place it. Now first thing I will do is confirm it, right click and rasterize it so I can get rid of all these logos. So grab your eraser tool and remove them. So that's gone, and now I'm gonna start working on the boat and think of it as kind of a recap for the model because this is basically same stuff. So Control T. And the thing about board is try to keep it under your model, so right on top of this color lookup. So you can also have this little bit of shadow effect, like the shadow of model is also covering half of the board, so it looks a bit more realistic. And before we get lost in the confusion, let's group all of this. So select your shadow, and I think till layer 1 it's all model. So hold your shift key and click on layer 1. So everything selected. Control G to group it and rename it model. Okay, now it's a bit easy to understand. Activate your shape and let's move it a bit more in the shadow. Okay, shadow is done. Now let's start painting on the board. So for that, activate shape, go and create new layer on top of that, rename it. Okay, that's enough painting. Now go and reduce the opacity to blend it properly. So yeah, at 50% it looks fine. I also added a gradient on board. Yes, so this is the board. Activate board layer, right click and go to blending options. So you can add a gradient. So go with gradient overlay, activate it and adjust the angle in a way that top portion is the brightest and bottom is darkest, and I think 90 works completely fine. You can adjust it manually a touch more. Okay, so that's fine. After that, go and change its blending mode to soft light. So now if I turn it on and off, there's a little bit more depth in the board, and then you can reduce the opacity a touch. So I think 70-80 is good. Hit OK. You know what, let's go and reduce the opacity of the shadow a little bit more. I think we went way too overboard. So I think 25% looks fine. Now we have to add a context shadow. Okay, so everything is in group, and to create the water ripples, here's the trick I used. Obviously, first I downloaded the water ripple brushes, as you can see here, and the brush I used is the first one, this. And first I created a new blank layer and I went with, white color and tried painting it, but it just didn't look good. Let's make the 100%. And I tried painting, but it didn't work out the way I wanted. So what I did is I grabbed my background layer, this one, layer 0 copy, and I made a copy of it. So press Ctrl J and rename it ripples. And then I went and changed the blending mode of this layer to multiply. So it will look something like this, and after that apply a layer mask. But when you apply the layer mask, hold your Alt key and then apply it. So it will already apply a blank layer mask. After that, make sure you have selected your brush tool and you have this ripple brush, and change your color to white. So now whenever I paint on this layer, it will reveal the data. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a simple click here, but right now the perspective of the brush is wrong. So we're gonna adjust that. Go and click on this little icon here, and do you see these two dots here? They allow you to rotate the brush in third dimension. So I'm gonna go and squeeze it a little bit from here. So I think now this matches a lot better. So go and do a click here. Okay, let's go a little bit here. Okay. And after that, I'm gonna change my brush and do a little bit more clicks. So everything is done, and now we can finally do some color correction. So for that, go and create a new adjustment layer and select vibrance. So we can boost some of the colors. So I'm gonna go and make it somewhere around like 70-80%. 74 looks fine. Go and close it. And after that, go and create another adjustment layer and get a selective color. And here I'm gonna go to my yellows and add a little bit of yellows. And then I'm gonna go to my reds and add a little bit of red. And then I'm gonna go to my cyans and then go and add a bunch of cyans. And then also reduce the yellow from your cyans a little bit and add a little bit of blacks. Then I'm gonna go to my blues and add a little bit of blues. And then add a little bit of blacks. And then finally, I'm gonna go to my blacks and make it -10 in the blacks. Looking pretty good. Now go and close it. Okay, now we are almost done. The last thing is go and create a new blank layer from here and then press Ctrl, Alt, Shift and E. So it will just basically create a JPG of your document. After that, I'm gonna go to image, adjustment and go to shadows and highlights. In the shadows and highlights, I'm gonna go and get that really flat look that I want. So I made the amount of shadow 0 and then I'm gonna reduce the radius of my highlights. By the way, if you cannot see these options and it looks something like this, go and click on show more options so you can see it. Now let's go and change it. So in my highlights is 6, 62 and 162, and in the midtone contrast I'm gonna go and keep it somewhere around like 5. Okay, that looks good. Then go and hit OK. So that's it, and this is the final output, and I really hope that you guys learned something from this video, and if you did, hit that like button, and if you have any kind of questions or suggestions, you can ask me in comment section below. If you're new here, you can click on any of these boxes to check out more videos by me. Plus you can also subscribe to my channel, so every time I upload a new video you will get the updates. Also clicking on that subscribe button will take you to my YouTube channel, where I have tons of tutorials just waiting for you. So till then, goodbye, take care and have some fun with Photoshop.